All right, people, man, thank you so much for your patience here today. Oh my God, I am basically I'm just learning how to get and go live right now. So we've just gone live and we're gonna have a chat down here below. And Angie has just joined me on the other line here. Um Angie, that I'm just trying to get this figured out right now. So if it's okay, I'll get back with you here if that's all right. So anybody, so we're here on today. We're talking about med beds, med bed technology. We've got a lot of technologies right now that are available that people can use. And let's just go ahead and bring a little bit of light over to our cyborg. There we go. So the premise of the call today is med bed technology, and what are med beds. A lot of people have seen that last video. So for anybody that's out there, as we start getting going with the chat, and anybody's free to ask questions, what is a med bed? Med beds are technically beds, kind of like something like behind me, except much more sophisticated, that are almost like a chamber that people can get into that are being used primarily off planet. And they basically, people can get into those and it can basically take care of just about any health and wellness condition. Through the work of James Rink, Dan Winter, Elena Denon, Michael Sala, there's a lot of people out there that have got a lot of documentation. People like James, Super Soldier Talks, have been in programs where he's used med beds. Uh, the um, the um, uh, the 20 and back type med beds that reverse you back. And so we'll get into a little bit about that. But this is just a general question and answer. Logical Spark, hello. Food Goddess 50. Hi, Angie. Thank you for jumping on. Like I said, I haven't really done a lot of lives before. So there was a little bit of a learning curve to figure out how to get to the video and get it turned on. So I apologize. I'm running a few minutes behind. Um, but basically, medbed technology gets into what I would just categorize as off-planet based technology. Other extraterrestrial people who are highly intelligent and much more advanced than Earth have basically developed these types of technology. So it's sort of the technology of the future. And there's been a lot of talk about medbeds coming to the surface of the planet and being implemented and being unrolled. And hey, Benita, how you doing? Thank you for jumping on today. So, so the goal today is just to answer questions. James Rink, who's actually been in some of these programs that's used these, is actually a friend of mine. So I'm going to get in touch with him. I'm in touch right now with quite a few different people who have like firsthand experience and more firsthand knowledge on these med beds and when they're coming out. So we're going to get into that. And then also, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the technologies that are available right now. I guess I'm trying to figure out how to position myself here. Camera left, camera right, all these different things. Oh man. So those are all subjects that we'll tackle in future calls. So, leave as many questions as you want. I'll try to answer the ones I can, to the best of my knowledge. And anything we don't, we'll have other people, and I'll have other people out there that will be able to, get on lives or do podcasts with that can get into more of the medbed information. But if you've seen some of the last videos that we've done, um, there's a lot of technology that's out there right now that's very powerful technology that can address a whole wide host of different things that are going on, and we'll talk about some of those today um, here in our little studio, our medbed lab studio, our off-planet space station, if you will. We have a lot of these technologies here. We just had people here actually today that came in. One thing that I'll say is you're always welcome to come in and use any of these technologies anytime you want. We just ask that you set an appointment so we have somebody available that can help walk you through them, show you how they work, and then get you in, get you out. So we're in Richmond, Virginia, And there's a lot of technologies that are out there which are very, very, very useful. So that is really exciting. Angie, I'm going to try to get you set up as a moderator. Can I do that? Oh my God, add as a moderator. Look at that. Boom. You know, I have to say that I feel empowered. Somebody in my 50s that's managing electronic devices. It's actually ironic that I'd be talking about med beds and I can hardly figure out how to use a smartphone. But but with that being said, there's a lot of technology that's out there right now. Some of it's as simple as just putting your feet on the ground. Now, did a quick background about me once again. I gave that on one of the previous videos. My name is Sean Callahan, and I'm in the medical equipment industry per se. So, over the last 15 years, we set up surgery centers, doctor offices. We've done a lot of international hospitals in Africa, a lot of international hospitals in Latin America, all over the world. We basically sell new and refurbished equipment, and we go into third world countries and bring this equipment in there that still has a lot of life. And it helps a lot of people. There's a lot of these hospitals that save literally thousands of lives by them just getting access to medical equipment. And in the coast of doing that, through the time frame of doing that, I've also run across I specialize in hospital beds, right? So that's where the USA Med Bed, if you see here my shirt, USA Med Bed, it's kind of a play on words in a sense because our company is one of the few companies that you can go to when you've got ALS, MS, quadriplegic, paraplegic. I mean, stories. I just sent a bed out like 5 minutes before I went on this call to a guy in Florida that's got ALS, just got a designation for ALS, and he's losing mobility, right? And so I get these situations on a daily basis. I had a guy last month in his 60s, late 60s, and he's trying to put together a playground for his kids. He falls, he breaks his back, And so these are the kind of situations. And then they say, well, you'll never do this again, never do that again. This is that. And that. They kind of write them off at some level and say, you're going to be very limited in the kind of recovery that you're going to get. And so about 4 or 5 years ago, I went in and oh my God, you gotta get on Elena's channel, Logical Spark, Elena Danan. She's actually got a live going on in a couple hours. But anyway, because I deal with these kind of situations that are really serious on a daily basis, I'm like, hey, I've heard a lot about these med beds. I want to dive into this. And so that's kind of led me on this journey of going in and figuring out the med beds and how they work and what they do. And so I've been doing that now for about 4 years. Give me just a sec. I have to I have to get my see when you're an old guy, you realize that you can't multitask. So you don't try to talk and chew bubble gum at the same time. So I have to quick pause there. But basically, I knew that there was technology out there and I wanted to find as much as what I could get. And so that's what led me down this search. And it's like, when you start seeing dual plasma energy systems inscribed in hieroglyphics, and you start seeing like all these different things, and you learn about the work of Nikola Tesla, you're like, oh my God, there's actually been technology out for thousands of years that's kind of come off the surface planet and then has gone away and has come back. A lot of it, as we all know, is kind of related to the times that we're in, right? So that's kind of where we're at. That's, medbed technology does get into off-planet technology, extraterrestrial technology, and we are in a time frame right now where we are looking at getting some type of disclosure. Like there's going to be some type of disclosure that'll let everybody know that there's a lot of really positive races of other beings that are out in the galaxy in the universe, and some malevolent and some benevolent, but there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on out in the cosmos. There's a lot of people out there that care and love for us very dearly. And so they're doing everything they can to get that technology in. The thing that's interesting, and it'll kind of summarize this, is that it'll ultimately depend on us, on our consciousness, and how we're able to develop as a human race. and evolve spiritually to prepare ourselves for, these types of things. The med beds are one of those. Free energy, all these different things that we know are out there. When are we going to get it, right? And so I'm going to touch back on that, but I'm just going to go to our question board here. Andrea Prang, thank you. Benita, I said hi. Naomi, hi Naomi. Thank you for jumping on. You're a great friend, a great customer of ours. We love you. Trisha, how you doing? Thanks for jumping on. Leori Rorig, hola amigo, ¿cómo estás? Muy bien. Oh, from Brazil. So I got to learn Portuguese. Okay. Um, Michelle, need availability on San Diego. My brother can go. Okay. In San Diego, I would go to an EE system. The EE system for your brother is going to be probably one of the best things. Now, there's a lot of technology out there now, right? So I put it below. If you're watching the video and you're like, hey, this guy's talking about a lot of stuff, go down into the description area, and I'm going to list off EE Center, EE System, Energy Enhancement System. So Michelle, for your brother, I would basically get into an EE system, right? That's very rejuvenating. That's a technology that's available now that's really technically referred to as a med bed technology. You're going to hear me talk a lot about Dan Winter, who I just absolutely love and adore. Really an angel sent from heaven who has created some amazing technology, very familiar with actual med beds, but at the same time developing technology that we can use right now. But yeah, so the EE system would be really beneficial. The other thing your brother could use is grounding technology, like an anti-aging grounding bed cover. When he's engulfed and laying down in bed, that's going to surround his body. It's going to put electrons in the body. It's going to neutralize swelling, inflammation. It also has far infrared. Um, Ultimately, it's the culmination of multiple things that you can do that are going to bring the best benefit. The grounding technology, when he's in bed all day, for all the patients and people I deal with for the medical beds, they all get grounding pillowcases. They all get grounding blankets. And if they're able, then we'll give them also a grounding bed sheet, depending on whether they're incontinent or whatever. So that can all be adjusted. A terahertz wand is a small little device. You might have saw me break this thing out. I like these because they're very inexpensive and they're also very powerful. These are really good for sending energy into very specific parts of the body. So you could put that on the spine. You could put that on areas of inflammation. If there is a lot of inflammation there, if there's a lot of swelling, depending on how soon that accident happened, do not use any heat because obviously with inflammation, there's plenty of heat. But that's really good for pointing this in a very small area and rejuvenating parts like ankles, back, hips, whatever. The EE system now Therify is a dual plasma energy system. It's a very powerful technology. In my opinion, it's probably the most powerful piece of technology on the planet, although there is a lot of other very powerful technologies. So, that's not necessarily saying that everything else isn't, but if Therify.net, and I'll have that down below after the video, that would be another technology that you could look at and see if there's a center available. The EE system basically is four lasers coming into four different sections of the room. They collide, and when they collide, they basically create a scalar energy field, and that scalar energy field is a very powerful energy field for rejuvenating the body and cells. And so that's what an EE system primarily is. However, um, and I didn't say this with the plasma systems, but I'm going to say it now. There's the light energy part of that that's also a big piece of that, right? So they run TV sets, which throws off photons, photon light energy. The EE system will run television sets in the corners, giving off photons. So you're getting the scalar energy and you're getting photons. The plasma energy through the Therify is doing the same thing. The plasma bulbs are throwing off massive amounts of photon energy. So you're getting light energy. And the way that the Therify works is it basically sends two whirlpools or two spirals into the middle. They create an implosion, and that's being done with the plasma energy field rather than lasers, but that's also a very powerful technology. And literally with both these systems, there's hundreds and actually thousands and thousands and thousands of testimonials. So so much information, so much documentation, and so much really it's just physics. It's really not all that complicated. Well, I mean, it technically can get kind of deep, but there's a lot of science behind it. So there's a lot of things that are out there that are very affordable for the everyday person. If you're anybody that's out there that's suffering from inflammation, that's suffering from stiffness, soreness, arthritis, anything, please go out and put your feet directly on the ground, right? That's really one of the greatest ways to get energy and to get the benefits of what the universe is providing by simply tapping into the earth. We're little tiny electrical creatures. I just saw that Suad with your daughter being autistic. I'm going to get to that in a second. But tapping into the earth for an autistic child, that's extremely important, is grounding and getting the child on the earth and absorbing the earth energy. So that would be something that I would absolutely highly recommend. And that's for everybody. And that's, you absorb electrons. It's really good for your blood. It declusters the blood. It gets rid of inflammation. It tunes you into the earth frequency, which is what we all run on. We all run on the earth frequency. And because of rubber sole shoes, we've sort of been disengaged from that. So that's very, very, very important that we tap into what's available all around us. This is, you know, med beds in general, obviously are good for people that are really messed up, right? And that's certainly valid. And that's really what got me into it. But there is a part of that where maintenance and using energy and frequency based technology, which is really what med beds are, energy and frequency based technology for overall wellness and health and living healthier, happier lives, right? And slowing down the aging process. There's categories now called anti-aging and biohacking where they're figuring out ways to sort of age reverse or slow down the aging process or maintain healthier lifestyles late into your years and even extend your life, right? So that goes for everybody, right? And this is for kids, adults, this is for everybody and anybody. Um, and I want to get to that lady, Suad, who said that your child is autistic. Aurora, how you doing? Oh, Aurora Lightworks, Dawn, thank you. So there's a lot of information about autism, right, and what's causing autism. And anything I'm saying on this video is 100% based on um, uh, this is not medical advice, right? And I'm not claiming to be a doctor. And if you have a health condition, please see a natural or see a medical professional. This is just, for entertainment purposes or just my personal opinions. So do your own due diligence, look into what's being said. Autism, from what I've read and what I'm understanding, is really a lot possibly to do with toxic heavy metal buildup, right? And if you go on to something like Instagram, I see a lot of posts on there with toxic heavy metal buildup issues. And I believe that primary one of those is perhaps mercury. So when you're looking at autism, the first thing that I would absolutely address is heavy metal detox. Now, the grounding is very good also. There's a movie called The Earthing Movie where they started grounding these kids that were in these classes that were autistic. And when they grounded these kids, they got them to settle down and just relax and chill out and basically become much more low keyed and a lot less outbursts, I guess. So there is on Healthy Life Technology. There's a detox program in there by a gentleman named Dr. Ben Goins, who's got multiple PhDs. He's an absolutely brilliant, brilliant chemist and scientist. It's a three-part package, and it's colloidal silver, colloidal gold, and iodine. And the iodine, you basically take the iodine. That's really good for the thyroid, and it's really good for getting toxic heavy metal out of the body in general. But the colloidal gold is really helpful because it basically surrounds the metals coming out of the brain and gets them out of the body. It does not allow them to break free and that blood-brain barrier and then go down your bloodstream and get lodged in again, right? So that's really very helpful. And then the colloidal silver does the same thing for the body. So when it's pulling metals out of the body, the colloidal silver grabs it and gets it out. Colloidal silver also has a host of other benefits, including killing toxic material and pathogens and all kinds of other things. But colloidal gold, colloidal silver, iodine, you could go on to Healthy Life Technology and you could find that package. There's other packages that are available elsewhere. Um, but I have seen some amazing documentation. So many kids these days um, are being basically poisoned. I mean, I don't know how to say it nicely other than there's the food supply in the world. I know the States is probably the worst in all honesty, which is really sad. Um, it's compromised, right? And there is definitely an underlying toe where things are going into that food that is not it's not good. And we had a woman, I had a lady that worked with me here who was a young person and she had a baby that was a year and a half old, and they didn't realize, we're seeing stuff right now with Kellogg's and these different companies that are putting a lot of stuff in their food, that has adverse health effects. And so you just have to be very conscious of this. And heavy metals are being found not just in the water, not just in the air, but they're being found in a lot of food. So it's bad enough if it's coming into the body through an outside source that most of us probably know, but the fact that you're being exposed to it in addition to your food supply through these other sources is really it's a sign of the times, right? Um, I'm just going to say this. I'm going to make it quick, and then I'm going to bounce back. But the goal of all this technology, the goal of everything that I'm talking about, is to raise our consciousness, to be loving people, to help each other, right? And when it gets down to it, um, if somebody calls me up and their little baby girl is having an issue like that lady with that, or I talked to this guy today who got that bed for ALS, and I'm talking to him and his wife. I don't care about anything other than I just want to help them from the purity of my heart. I just, want to make sure that they're going to get what they need, and I'm going to try to do what I can do. Um, and I'm not considering what their beliefs and anything are. I'm not getting into anything other than how can I help you and how can I serve, right? And so when it gets to the med beds, when they're going to be released, when it gets to free energy, when it's going to be released, when it gets to all of these amazing things that are coming, what's happening in the world right now is nothing more than a reflection of our collective consciousness as a humanity, right? It's a collective consciousness. It's almost like a shadow. And so, as we incorporate more love and we incorporate more value and more power of being loving creators, right? Creating the reality that we want, we will basically manifest that reality. So, med beds is a good subject to start with because it's certainly cool and it's very fascinating. And, like I'm talking dual tube plasma energy systems, they're inscribed in hieroglyphics in Egypt, right? So you're getting into Atlantis, you're getting into ancient history of our planet, stuff that I find just absolutely fascinating. But when you realize that we're sort of rediscovering technology that was available thousands of years ago, that was inscribed in hieroglyphics, I said on a previous video, we still can't move 150 ton rocks up mountains, but yet there's tons of these centers and a lot of these sacred places around the world where that was done. And not only was it done, but they were like lined up and created perfectly with not even enough of a sliver for a piece of paper to get through. So it's quite clear that there's a lot that's gone on. There's a lot going on. The subjects of med beds, I feel, kind of opens us up to a lot of the reality that's going on around us. I think it's really important that we tap into the power that we have as creators, as spiritual beings. Increase your manifestation, increase your intuition, increase your love. The most powerful frequency in the world is love. If all of us on this call, 48 of us, focus on love and we focus on a person that needs healing, I believe that we can heal them just through our power as spiritual beings, right? And so as we harness that power, as we understand the power that we've got, um, it really unites us as human beings and understanding that there's a lot of entities, there's thousands and thousands of extraterrestrial races, and they're all beautiful, created by God. Certainly some are not following an agenda that we probably agree with, but if you believe in God, and it's hard not to, and if you don't, that's fine too. I get that. I'm not trying to push my religious, or I'm not even religious, spiritual stuff, but when you understand that it's all part of this big play and we're all a part of it, and we're spiritual beings having a human experience, not necessarily humans trying to have spiritual experiences, which is kind of how it gets twisted. So let me just go back in. RM Prophet, thank you for jumping on and joining us. Greatly appreciate that. Michelle, Sarah, thank you so much for jumping on. And Angie, thank you so much for doing so much promotion on this call today. I greatly appreciate it. Anybody that's familiar, Angie, Food Goddess 50, a dear friend, and she's amazing. She's got her own lives. Angie, can you post maybe Food Goddess 50? You can find her on Facebook and different things. Roger, vitamin D is really good for blood pressure. The Terahertz wand is so. I wouldn't necessarily say it's on my top favorite list, but the one thing I would say that'd be good for blood pressure would be the grounding technology. You can see here, that's a piece of the fabric. It's coiled silver. Roger, if you're not outside putting your feet directly on the ground and bringing that earth energy in, one of the first things that happens is that you your blood cells start to compromise the cellular structure. They start to clump and clot, right? And so when your blood clumps and clots, it puts a lot of pressure on your heart. It's like driving a car with 100,000 miles on it. You never change the motor oil. If you get out and start grounding within hours, it will basically start declustering and declumping the blood, right? Now, I'm in Virginia, pretty nice out today, actually. This is technically the same thing as putting your feet on the ground. God, I'm really bad with camera stuff, which I find incredibly funny. This plugs into your grounding outlet, right? And so basically outside of every home since the 1950s, there's a copper rod outside your home. It's called a grounding rod, right? And that grounding rod is there. If you see this little plug, it's just the grounding plug. This one, it's not the it's these are plastic because you don't need electricity. But outside that copper rod, if there was a surge in electrical energy, what would happen is it would basically send it into that grounding outlet. It would go into the grounding rod, and that rod would basically neutralize that electrical charge, right? But on the flip side, because we have these copper rods outside in their code, um, you can bring that electrical, that earth energy into the outlet, and from the outlet you bring it into the fabric, and then that fabric, if you see that, that's coiled silver. And for all you old people out there, and I know there's not a lot of old people, but I'm an old person. There used to be a toy called a Slinky, right? And the Slinky basically um, was a coiled thing. Well, the reason it's coiled silver and not a strand of silver is that what happens is that when the fabric, when you're moving around, the fabric's doing this. If it's a strand of silver, it's going to break and it's got a very short shelf life. If it's a coil, it'll stretch and bend and flex and go with it. So that's why it's coiled silver. 40% of that surface is coiled silver. So summarize, you got a copper grounding rod outside your house. It's conductive. It brings the current of the earth into that outlet, from the outlet to the fabric, and from the fabric into your body. So it's bringing the electrons into the body. It's neutralizing free radicals. That prolonged stiffness, soreness, arthritis, back pain, inflammation being the key word probably, because according to the World Health Organization, 80% plus of the people that pass away on this planet pass away from some type of inflammation related disease. And so what they're finding out is that a buildup of inflammation, a buildup of free radicals over the course of days, weeks, months, and years eventually manifests into these different health issues, right? So if you can reduce inflammation, which is basically bringing electrons into the body, which can be done by connecting with the earth or going to bed, or you can put these on your desk. You can put these on a floor. You can do just about anything. Um, that will basically reduce the inflammation for somebody like Roger, who's got issues with blood pressure. When you start to declump and decluster your blood cells and you get them back to their natural shape and size, what happens is the blood viscosity goes down and it reduces the pressure on the heart to have to push the blood through all your internal organs in your body. And so that would be very helpful. You would also want to research the benefits of vitamin D, which there's a lot of information on that. Um, but I do believe that there's a lot of things that are very natural that are good for that. Like I said, this is not medical advice, but this is based on, well, the thing with declustering the blood is just that's science. There's 21 or more scientific studies on the blood and how that works. And that's actually in a movie called The Earthing Movie, which is a documentary which I absolutely love. I have watched that movie a minimum of 15 times. I highly recommend it. But it gets into people that are having memory loss, it gets into MS, it gets into autism, it gets into weight loss of all things. It gets into a lot of things. Firsthand documentary from people, and then you have actual scientists, and you've got a lot of really good stuff that is all in there. It's a documentary. It's on YouTube. It's about an hour and 15 minutes long. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. Oh, and Angie's got, look at Angie. Boom. There you go. Angie's got a lot of really good stuff too that she could probably recommend that's going to be in the chat. Now, Angie is a nurse, not actively, but had a very long career as a nurse. And she basically, Angie, I'm going to tell your story for you. But she had autoimmune diseases and had issues where she went out and did her science. Really, she became sort of an expert in all these different things on how to heal herself, how to get rid of all these issues that she had. And so through that process, she was able to learn a lot, and now she's helped thousands and thousands of people over the years. So, Angie, appreciate you and everything you do. Thanks for being on, and thanks for being a moderator. Um, and thanks for keeping the comments and stuff going there. Immunity boosters, good for, and also we could even talk as immunity booster. Carbon 60, which Angie's also an expert on. Carbon 60 has a lot of benefits. And Ro, thank you for joining us today. Appreciate you getting on. And Judy Brown, thank you very much. And just trying to go through here. I have a tendency to, there was comments on there. It's like I watched your thing for 30 minutes now trying to find out one thing. And it's like I get that. I understand that there's a lot of information that people want, and I try to be as concise as I can. But sometimes when you're talking about this, it gets into different, into kind of different. I don't want to say rabbit holes, but they it can get you off track a little bit. But let's talk more about some of the technologies that are available right now. I'm going to try to. Well, I showed you the terahertz one. We've got the grounding technology. I'm going to see if I can take this up and give you a little tour here of my little abode, which is our wellness center area here. Because I do have some other stuff here. One of the things that we also have are the plasma energy spheres. And the plasma energy spheres are they're very much they're a very popular. It's a version of the Therify. It's a dual tube plasma energy system, and this is a very powerful system. This is a real true medbed type technology. These are technologies right now that are also available, and these are not expensive. Like when I first got these, I got these for my house, and I'm going to show you the app that they run on. But if you're looking for a technology that's very affordable for home and you like, this type of thing for rejuvenation, these have a host of benefits that are very, very, very beneficial. And so I'll use these for chakra alignment. Now, right now, I've got issues with my pancreas, which I'm not going to keep saying that. It's getting better. but I can run frequencies for pancreas, thyroid, any part of my body, right? And send beneficial, positive energy into it. And each side of the sphere is basically sending a signal, and it's creating a plasma energy field, and it's a scalar energy field. And this is basically a very, very powerful piece of technology that you can get. Um, and Angie might be able to find it, but it's on our Healthy Life technology. These are handmade in Belgium. This is a technology made by a gentleman named Mr. Dan Winter and Mr. Patrick Bate, who are brilliant, brilliant, brilliant scientists that really understand the med beds and the med bed type technology. So that is one piece of technology. Another technology that we have over here is the multi-wave oscillators. And unfortunately, let me just turn these. See that a little bit better. So the multi-wave oscillators are Tesla technology. They're basically these discs. I'm going to try to get a little better shot here for you. And this is our little center that we've got here. Let's see if that's better. That's a little better. So basically, these multi-wave oscillators, every one of the rings right there, all the rings on here are a disc, or excuse me, are a frequency. And you sit in between those two. And what they do is they charge the body with electrical energy. They send the 12 most beneficial frequencies into the body. And then they also get the cells to vibrate at a higher vibrational level. And what they found out is that when your cells start vibrating at a slow level, they basically start becoming unhealthy, and your health can be directly related to the vibration of the cells. So being in these fields where they start raising the vibration of the oscillation rate of the cell is extremely beneficial. And I'm going to talk about that. In fact, let me just see here. Oh, man. Appreciate everybody coming to hang out with me today. That's a little better. Now there's two of them, right? So there's another one over there. But so basically, each one of these rings is a frequency, and then it's sending electrical energy in the body. Now, when you're 30 years old, your body runs on 100 millivolts of electrical energy. When you're 70 years old, you're running on 30 millivolts of electrical energy. So these things also charge the body with electrical energy. And then they're called multi-wave oscillators because what they do is they get the cells to start vibrating really fast and get their oscillation rate up, which is basically, what creates your health. It basically restores health. And it's really amazing because Lakovsky figured this out 100 years ago, right? And unfortunately, what happened was he had such good results. Brought him into um, they brought him into New York. He got hit by a car, and the next day, all of his technology disappeared. But if you want to look at some really powerful technology, these would be some of the things you could look at. I'm going to show you also. I've got over here. Let me see if I can. You can see our studio here. We're all about the modern world of technology. And now we're going to head to another section. But we've also got these. Let's see if we can get some light over here. We also have these Tesla paddles, the Tesla coils. And this is from the work of Nikola Tesla. And you can put these directly on your body. And these have all different kinds of benefits. You have a PEMF, and then you've got these different coils, and you put these, say, kidneys, put them right on your stomach, put them on your legs, your back. Very, very, very good for sending energy into the body. These are very popular, and I'm just going to read the box off right here, which you can see. But back pain, chronic pain, breaks up free radicals, immune system boost, stops allergic irritations, reactions, inflammation-related diseases, pain, um, oxygenating blood, cleanses body of pathogens, bacteria, fungus, joint mobility, gets toxic stuff out of the body and rejuvenating the cells, a whole host of different things, right? So um, these are other technologies. Behind me, you've got the celestial chamber, and I'll go back to that. And you can see here that um, we've got a lot of stuff here, but there's a lot of stuff available. What can I say? I mean, that's why people are like, hey, I'm waiting for the med beds. Well, hey, I'm waiting for the train to come too, but there's been three that just passed. And if I'm going from here to there, I can jump on another one. Now, the celestial chamber, which is behind me, let me try to see if I can get that thing going. Hold on just a sec here. Get that. Oh, so this has nine different, or excuse me, seven different technologies. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and program this. And but you've got, I don't know if you can see it, but we're going to try to show it to you. Um, boom. Cell resonance. So I can just click these on. Chromotherapy, gyrotherapy. I'm going to put the far infrared on there. And then I'm going to crank this up. This has got a lot. We had people in here today before I got on, and they absolutely loved it. Everybody loves it. And then you just lift this up and boom. So you have the chromotherapy running all the light frequency spectrums, red light. Over here, you've got ozone and negative ions. And then down here, this is a mixture of crystals and magnets and far infrared. And so you get in here and it does a whole host of things, and it runs terahertz frequency. It does a lot of different things, but this is also a really cool technology. So, of course, you're never going to hear me talk about anything without mentioning crystals, because I love and adore crystals and crystal energy. So I've got that all around me as well. Crystals are actually very interesting because, number one, they are conscious entities, conscious living entities. And you can do so much with manifestation. You can do so much with uh, projecting, astral projecting. I mean, you can manifest things with those, communicate with those. Um, Crystal quartz is actually the purest element in the universe. It's the closest molecular structure to pure light in the universe, right? So quartz crystal of all things, right? And so anybody that's been here knows that I've got crystals everywhere. And I want to freak on quartz, but we also have hmm, I have quartz everywhere. Now, this is a real great piece of technology. Some stuff is really like the multi-wave oscillators by nature are pretty simple. Something like this is really simple. You have two different. This is a copper, and you can see it's twisted copper, so it's basically amplifying the energy being twisted. And Angie's been in there. Yeah, Angie, I know you love it. But this takes the power of this energy of this crystal and sends it in all directions about 100 feet, right? These are really good for all different kinds of things. If you want to manifest something, put the manifestation, put the wish in here. If you just want the natural energy of the crystal, it's interesting because one of the stories from one of the people that used these, that got these, and these are the crystal energy spheres, is that they noticed that everything was starting to calm down. Everybody was in a really good mood. And it turned out that they had bought one of these and they put rose quartz in it, right? And the rose quartz, the energy of the rose quartz had kind of mellowed out the environment of where they were. Crystals are so powerful, like I just absolutely love them. Dawn, my dear friend Dawn, with Aurora, Reiki and healing. If anybody hasn't seen her in there, oh yeah, hey Fluffy Pop, yeah, isn't that funny? Like Spencer's Gifts. Do you remember that? I do, and I also remember Slinkies. So I hope I'm not giving away my age. However, I do not have an AOL web address. I have a Gmail. So there. I mean, yes, I might be old, but I'm trying to stay hip with the times. So Fluffy Pup, what's interesting is that what they did with those plasma spheres, the ones that we were just looking at, is they dropped 20,000 watts of energy under the bottom. It's like they took an old car and dropped a 440, V12 or some V8 in there. Um, but um, but that's what they did. And then I'm going to show you the app real quick. The app is so you can see I was running. Go. Wow. Okay. So basically, I was running stuff from my pancreas earlier, but you have this section right here, frequency tables. I'm just going to hit it. And you can pick out any frequency set that you want to run. And I can see that it's like, I don't know where the light's coming from, but you have thousands of frequencies. And then basically all you do is hit play. Boom. God, I'm bad. And it'll run that frequency set, and then you Bluetooth that into the spheres, and then the spheres basically run that frequency set into the body. And I mean, you can go through. There's literally thousands of frequencies, and you can go through and you can customize and do your own frequencies. Um, so you have the ability to customize any frequency set, and that is really good for rejuvenation. Now, anybody who, yeah, it's pretty cool. Um, and that's developed by Dan Winter. Dan Winter and Patrick Bate. They're like Dan. I don't know. I just can't say enough good things about him. But in all honesty, I have to give credit to Elena Denon. I have to give credit to Michael Salla. I have to give credit to James Rink. Um, there's a lot of people, that have put themselves out there bringing out information. Dan is a physicist and probably the smartest guy I've been fortunate enough to meet, but also probably one of the kindest and gentlest souls on the planet who really is doing nothing but raising our energy and frequency through knowledge and understanding who we are, how everything works, how everything's connected. But Dan developed those plasma spheres. But I guess the point I was going to make is that they can rejuvenate the body. The goal initially is to say, look, I'll run it for thyroid detox, liver, kidney, right now, pancreas. You can run it for all different parts of the brain. But where this all this goes, which is really interesting, and I talked about this on one of my previous calls, is it gets into um, it gets into lucid dreaming manifestation. If anybody's familiar with Edgar Casey was just an absolutely brilliant human. And he really, was like he could see past, present, and future. Everything is technically one. Time is a material element, so time can be manipulated. Time is a material element, but everything is present, past, present, and future is all here. And they call this information from this the Akashic records, and some of it ties in something with what we might say is the collective consciousness, right? And so Edgar Casey ran on a frequency where he was dialed in to the Akashic records. Like Edgar Casey was totally dialed in at that level. When you're at that frequency, you can dial into everything, right? You're technically embodied in a human body, but you have these spiritual gifts, and we all have them. Edgar Casey was obviously very tuned into those, and there was times where he was present with them and times where they became, something he had to kind of hold back on. But he made all these predictions, and every single one of them, to my knowledge, has all come true. But people like Edgar Casey ran at a really high frequency, right? And so when you use this technology, med bed type technology, although it starts in a bodily form, and we're saying, hey, man, my body's messed up, or I've got this, or I want to do that, or whatever, that's where it starts, right? But where it ends is raising your frequency, raising your vibration, raising your ability to tap into Akashic records, knowing that, hey, you know what? I was just thinking about Angie, food goddess. Oh my God, she just called me. Go figure. Because you're using that intuition, those antennas are opening up, and you're picking up the signals, and you're sending out positive, loving signals to everybody, even those that you're not necessarily, jumping up and down and having a picnic for, you're still trying to stay in a positive, loving vibration. If I've learned something from Dan Winter, which we'll get into, if like we can move into different subject, ghosts, right? Ghosts are technically plasma energy also. What happens is that at the time of death, when people are leaving the body, if you're holding on to a lot of anger, if you're holding on to a lot of negative energy, hate, anger, all those different things, you don't transition out of this dimension. You get stuck. And so holding on to anger is really not a good thing. And so you want to, it's not that you don't get angry. We all get angry, of course we do, but you have to process it through and get it out of the system. You cannot hold on to that. Anybody, and I think all of us on this call know that holding on to anger creates a lot of health issues, man. Your body absorbs it. It becomes into your tissue. It goes into your body. You're literally holding on to all this emotion, whether it's stress, anxiety, all these different things, right? Trauma. Many of us have gone through different kinds of trauma. Your body stores all that. So the goal is to process that out, right? And lift that weight off your body and get your soul and your spiritual consciousness to a point where you can raise it to higher levels where you can see through things that normally would frustrate and say, "Hey, man, I still wish that person well. I get it that that they're not happy or they, for whatever reason, uh, they don't like my video, whatever, right? But that's okay. I mean, we're all sharing a collective experience, and the goal for all the technology that we have is to get the body straight and figured out, and then develop our conscious spiritual gifts that we've been given. Um, the most powerful frequency. I said it earlier on the show. If you heard it before, I repeat it, but the most powerful gift we have is the gift of love, right? And to be a loving person. And you will be amazed at how you can make things happen with the power of love, how you can heal others, how you can manifest, how you can do so much stuff. It's like I said on the last video, love, when you talk about it, can kind of be mushy. And I'm not much of a mushy guy, but I mean, I guess I can be, but really, when you wanna talk about true power and you wanna talk about true ability and you wanna talk about going to the 5th dimension or all the multiple dimensional stuff, and you wanna talk about breaking out of duality, and you wanna talk about, like, what it is, the one thing that you can do, it's about developing a very loving presence. It's about being compassionate and being caring and seeing everybody as a brother, a sister, a mom, a dad, an uncle, and trying to see through that and embrace it, right? And I touch on these things, and I'm going to say it again. We're in a world right now that's very divisive. In case anybody hasn't checked out the news in a while, we're living in a world right now that's very divisive, and it's not an accident. And the powers that be, which are probably the same ones preventing the med beds, the real med beds, the real government free med beds, which are sitting out in space in various places, just waiting to be brought down. Um, that's how they stay in power. They stay in power by keeping us divided, right? And to get us pitted against each other. And it's not that we necessarily need to embrace everything that we don't believe to be true. That's not it. It's really just that we respect everybody's ability to say, look, this is where they're at in this time, place, and circumstance. And they haven't been given the gifts that some of us have been given, from spiritual discernment, to just understand that some things that I say, some of you might just go, boom, I knew that, or I got that, or I already knew that. And you understand it intuitively because it's programmed in, because where you're at right now, you're here to hear this message. This is about what you need to hear to advance to that next place in your life and say, oh, you know what, I was thinking that, I think, yeah, he said that. And that's not to say that because I might have that ability or somebody does or doesn't, that they're better than anybody else. It's not that. It's just we're at different levels of evolution as spiritual beings, right? And so it's about embracing everybody. I've told this story once. I haven't told it on here for a while. Raising your vibration will bring such abundance, love, and positive into your life. Low vibration do so much damage to the body. Yes, thank you, Dawn. I love you. You're awesome. And Food Goddess, you're awesome. Um, and I got a little off track when I started reading that, so I apologize. But but that loving vibration, when you have that, and we can start sharing that as a collective entities, and we manifest. all that stuff, that's really what's holding us back right now from really getting to that next level. The thing that really is holding us back is us, which is kind of a hard reality sometimes to embrace, that I'm not only the problem, but I'm the cure and the solution. So if you understand that, then if you can embrace that and start becoming that, that's where the whole thing is at. So, um, I love med beds. I love talking med beds. Like I said, and I can just go back to med bed stuff again, just to kind of circle back to that, because I know I get off into some different stuff. Um, but there's a lot of different kinds of med beds now, with James, and James has a YouTube channel called Super Soldier Talks, where he's been in these off-planet programs. He's interviewed hundreds of people. His channel has 80,000 plus subscribers. He's big on Rumble, and he's a great guy, just a really great guy. But he talks about, jumping into it's almost like a pod. If you've seen, like, a lot of these movies, these space age movies are basically showing us what's really going on, but you get in this chamber where you're breathing like, literally breathing the goo. I think that was in, I think that's been in several different movies, but, you basically get in this pod, you're breathing this goo, and this goo is basically, um, it's basically it's turning your body back, and James, I believe, said that he was in that thing for about 2 weeks, to go back 20 years. Somebody, on the last call, had said that it could be 40 years. And from what I've heard and from the people in these programs, it's interesting. It's always in, sequences of 20 years. So it's 20 years, it's 40 years, it could be 60 years. There's a lot of people that have been in these programs. Um, they're off-planet programs. Time is a material element, right? So time can be, it can be worked with. You can go back in time, forward in time. Even Tesla, I believe Einstein worked on time travel, and so that in itself is, not too far out there. That's actually, from a physics, we're really right at the cusp of that. You have, Project Looking Glass, and there's different things that are out there where they can go forward in time and, go back in time. And Stuart Swerdlow and others have a lot of, YouTube information out there on their time travel. But basically, that's a program that reverts you back. So what they do is they pull you off planet, you go do 20 years off planet, and then, when it's time to go back and the contract's up, they revert you back 20 years, and then they drop you in to the planet, as if you were only gone 2 minutes, right? They have that ability, which is pretty mind-blowing. So, that's the 20 and back program. And, you know, people are saying, "Hey, I wanna be 20 years younger. I wanna be 20 years younger." I know, like, we all do, right? Um, Med beds for animals, chipmunks, elephants. The technology right now is out there. I'll get to that, but I wanna just get back into this age reversal thing real quick, Michelle, but thank you. And Andrea, I'll get to you as well. So basically, I've said this many times and you'll hear this before. If you want to go 20 years back, high density nutritional supplements, a lot of exercise, and you can use the grounding technology. They call this the anti-aging, bed cover, because when you're using it, you're basically slowing down and reversing the time element, the aging process, right? So let's say as an example, and there's a lot of stuff on Instagram. If you see me on Instagram, Sean Callahan 108, um, there's a lot of people on there. There's people in their 80s, even in their 90s, that are doing push-ups and pull-ups, and I'm looking at that going, "Dude, you got some work to do." Like, seriously, like, if there's people in their 80s that are still getting after it in that good a shape, and they don't look a day over my age and they're 58, it's because they're doing something that's taking care of themselves, right? So I don't wanna be disrespectful. Sometimes I get a little abrasive, but sometimes, I'm not in the mood for coddling people. But, if you're 50 years old, let's say, or 60, and you've been chain smoking and eating Cheetos and drinking, Diet Cokes, your body could even though you're 60, your biological age could say that you're 75 or 80. Like, you could be aging way faster than you should be. On the flip side, the opposite's true. You could be, like me, pushing 60, and you could be working out and eating right and exercising, and doing the right things and have a biological age of somebody that's 40. That's not uncommon. I mean, it's actually very common. So anybody that doesn't want to put in the work to get that age reversal, um, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, like, there's a price to be paid for that technology that they put those people through in those programs. That is not like, "Oh, hey, you're just there's gonna be no side effects. We're gonna drop you in this, revert you back 20 years, and you can just get back on the couch and eat Cheetos." I mean, it's not gonna work like that. Like, there is a price to be paid physically, mentally, on what it does to your body to revert it back like that. So, is it available? Absolutely. Is it out there? From everything that I've seen and heard, and that's from multiple sources. James has got hundreds of people on his channel. Michael Salla interviews these people, Dr. Michael Salla. Elena Danaan can explain it. She knows it very well. Elena Danaan also, for anybody that really is big into crystals, she's done some amazing videos on crystals, the power of crystals. Elena Danaan, she's got a live coming up here shortly as well, so I would highly recommend just get tuned into these people and listen to them. They're brilliant people. They're doing so much good for mankind right now, and our goal, the goal with this channel is obviously to try to give you the information that you need. I want everybody to live a healthy, happy life. We're all brothers, sisters, mothers, daughters. We all want to do best for, and the thing I've told other people, Mel Carmine, I don't know if anybody knows Mel. He's got a wellness center called Staying Alive down in Cape Canaveral, and he's got the dual tube plasma energy system, and he's got the EE system, and I love the EE system. And thank you for Dr. Sandra Rose Michael. Thank you, Mr. Dan Winter. Thank you, Mr. Patrick Bate. Thank you for all the other great people and the ones that aren't with us, the Royal Rifes who developed technology that got run off of, basically they destroyed that guy. They made him miserable, and he had solved all these problems. Everybody's like, "Oh, I want you to help me with this and my that." And it's like, go look, it's there, man. Just go do your work. Stop moping around like there's no solution. There's solutions all around you, but you have to go look for them, right? Rife and Lakovsky basically squashed just about everything that most people are on this channel for that has anything to do with bad cells in the body, right? They squashed it. You could look up multi-wave oscillator. You could research Raymond Royal Rife, but man, these guys paid a price. Like Rife, they killed a lot of people around him, or they died, I guess. Um, they discredited that guy. They ran him into the ground. They absolutely destroyed him. And these guys did it all for us. They did it all for us. They created these technologies for me, for you, to make the world a better place. And many of them have been swept under the rug and under history. But if there's one thing that we're going to do on these calls, is we're going to talk about the sacrifices that have been made and the technologies that are available right now. Anybody that's talking about uh, just go look at the description areas, right? Listen to what I'm telling you. I'm not gonna go out there and you've got to do a little bit of research, right? I can't spoon feed certain things. There's certain things that cannot be talked about. But if you understand what I'm saying to you, do not give up hope, because there's plenty of hope. There's hope right now with the mental game of saying, there's nothing that I can't fix or solve or take care of. Mental fortitude, tenacity, right? Dr. Joe Dispenza, I talked to everybody on this last call about how powerful it is to have the mind engaged. Man, do you realize how powerful your mind is, that you can think about water and change the molecular structure of water with your thoughts? By thinking and applying your thoughts to a glass of water, you can change it. You can create plasma energy fields with your mind by focusing on things. You can manifest any reality that you want, even if it means that you're bringing knowledge and information to you. Um, but for people that have issues with a lot of bad things, um, there's so many options, there's so many solutions. I would just say number one, don't give up hope. In my world, I live in a world of infinite possibilities and infinite miracles, and you all live in that same world. So embrace the world that you're living in, embrace yourself as a spiritual being, embrace the fact that there's a solution to every problem, and that every problem not only brings a solution, but it brings you to a higher level of consciousness, right? I'm going to go back to questions. I'm sorry, I get off on rants. 6-year-old skin is so thin, collagen muscles again, and less wrinkles. Well, Angie, you might want to chime in on some of that. I know that there's a lot of stuff that's out there. Um, there is a lot of collagen supplements. Collagen is carbon 60 cream, helps wrinkles. The wand is really good for wrinkles. Like I lived almost 30 years in San Diego. I had a lot of wrinkles, like worse than you see now. And it's only because I have a good hair and makeup team that you can't see them, right? No. Um, but I use the wand on them a lot. I actually did my own hair and makeup. No, I'm not kidding. There's no hair and makeup. Um, Gotta have a little fun. I mean, goodness, I mean, all this stuff can get kind of serious, but ultimately, the number one thing you can do is have a little bit of laughter amidst even the most chaotic stuff. Laugh through it. Laughter is the way that you release from the seriousness. It's the seriousness that is the problem. It's the seriousness of absorbing into different things that cause the situations that you're in and laughing through it and understanding that as a spiritual being, that this is all just a temporary reality and it's kind of a play. Like Shakespeare said, the world's a stage and we're all players, right? So there is a very deep truth to that. Laughter also releases dopamine, and dopamine can cure anything. Dopamine, laughter. How is that true? How is that possible? Dr. Tony Nora, who me and Angie work with very close, is person that made that statement. And so dopamine is through laughter, right? And laughing your way through it and trying to break out of that seriousness and catching yourself when you do. It's all about changing the mindset, right? It's all about staying in that positive focus thing. And when you can do that, infinite miracles and infinite possibilities are abundant. And like just tapping into the power that you have as a spiritual being. This medbed technology is brilliant. I love it, right? But it doesn't, it's a step below the natural gifts that we're all given as human beings, very special, special beings. And throughout the throughout the cosmos. In fact, um, um, yeah, if you respect animal life, not eat meat. Well, Fluff Pup, I can proudly tell you, but I'm not here to preach that I've been vegetarian for almost 35 years, but that's not really here nor there. But a lot of these extraterrestrial races, um, they have a very limited ability of what they can do. Like their frequency levels are very low. And so they're very powerful. They're very, very, very smart. They're very intellectual, but they can't express or feel love and they can't express laughter and feel laughter. And there's so many things that as humans, our DNA is a culmination of so many different DNAs. Like we're almost like super creatures. And in the universe, when you're looking at the human species, our DNA is valuable. Like they're harvesting our DNA and trying to use it for multiple reasons, but we have such a wide things of spectrums and emotions and things that we can feel and things we can manifest that other entities cannot. And if you get into Vedic stuff, which I'm very big into Vedic culture and Vedic society, basically everybody evolves at the pace that they're given, right? And some people, they're just at that level where they've incarnated into a body of an alien or an extraterrestrial. I don't want to be disrespectful to any. I say off planet, but they've been on our planet for longer than we have. So it's not like they're all out there and none of them are down here. They're all integrated within our society. Um, but we have these really special gifts, and the human race and the human being itself is a very, very, very highly coveted um, uh, uh, form. Right now, here on our planet, we've been kind of manipulated by a lot of lower energy, lower frequency. So we're big into just wars and being a little running around with just we're little warmongers. We're kind of representations of the leadership that we've been given, but ultimately it's not necessarily human. It's kind of been pushed into our civilization through higher ups and through some of those extraterrestrial races that they don't feel like we feel. Like you could say, well, how can they do that? That's true. That's very true. But you can feel the pain, you can feel the suffering, and they can't. They don't have that ability. So you can't say, well, that's how could somebody do that? They can do that because they don't have the same emotions. They can't feel love, they can't feel joy, they can't laugh, they can't do all those different things, right? So that's a gift that we've all been given, right? I would say I'll go back. I will go back and say no matter how bad things get, man, and we're all getting the snot beat out of us in this third dimensional world right now. It's crazy. It's so crazy. Like I look at stuff and it's like it's so crazy that I'm like, God, I don't even know where to go with this other than just say, this is just so crazy. I don't even know where to go with it. And I'll try to laugh my way through it. But ultimately, if you can be grateful, right? If you can be grateful for just saying, man, I'm going to have a warm bed to sleep in tonight. I know I'm going to have something to eat tonight. I know that Fluff Pup, I know that my little cat and dog are going to be there and they're going to love me when I come home tonight. And I know, and like, no matter how bad things get, man, and they can get really bad. Um, they can always get worse, but they can always be bad, but there's always something you can be grateful for. And I will tell you, as a person that's been through a lot in my lifetime, I'm always grateful for, like in all honesty, no matter how bad the beatings are that I get with anything that I'm dealing with, whether it's stuff not going right in my business or, not going right with whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm never out of the fight. I'm never out of the game. I'm always 100% present and I'm always like I go back to what I said earlier, mental fortitude and tenacity, right? Those two things will get you through anything. And then being a loving, compassionate person because when it's all said and done and you check out of here and we all will, if they could say that that guy was a loving and compassionate person, he cared about others, you've lived a good life, right? That's really if you can evolve to that, and we can all evolve to that, the consciousness on the planet will basically amend to that vibration and we will not have the issues that we're dealing with now. But we've been broken down and we're into all these different things. I mean, there's so many distractions and so many things going on, and most of them are low energy. So healing energy and healing frequencies. I don't know if you can hear anything. Can you hear the background? I'm running a little background music. I'm running 432 hertz. Um, but if you can be a loving person and stay out of that anger zone and stay out of the frustration and stay out of the agitation and the all those different things, and that's not saying that we don't experience that it's going to happen. It does. It's just part of our but process it, acknowledge it, and then try to shift out of it, right? As quickly as possible. So I've gone an hour and 13 minutes. Anybody that knows me knows that I love to talk. I can get a little bit long-winded. I'm going to say it like I did last time. Anybody that's on this call, I am so grateful for your time. I'm so grateful for you tuning in. Angie and Dawn, my dear friends, I love you. You guys are like my soulmates. And I'm here to answer your questions and do whatever I can to serve, to help, and to try to make the world a better place. One person at a time. It's just one story. It's just one person. I just have to help one person. And this is all worth it, right? This call, this lifetime, anything. If I can do one thing, if it's as simple as, like I said, getting the door for somebody, letting somebody into traffic, right? When the lanes are merging, it's like, love you too. You guys are awesome. That it's all worth it. Every bit of it's been worth it, right? So we're all on this journey together, right? Anything you need, I'm here for you. I mean, it's just, I'll share knowledge. I'll help answer questions. I'll go in and say, hey, this is what you need for this. We're all in this together. So the one thing I also say, and then I'll let you guys go, is that this might not be relevant for you, right? You might say, well, I saw that wand and those spheres and and this stuff knocks out a lot of stuff. Like there's a lot of people that are really messed up right now. But you might know somebody, right? You might find somebody that's like, God, my back, this is bad, or I've got a lump here, or whatever. And you'll say, you know what, I heard this guy is a little bit out there. But maybe you could see what they've got to say. And for me personally, because I have to be very careful about how I execute information, I'll send you to the sources that I get my information from, right? Some cells resonate on a frequency. Like I had the Anthony Holland video on. Anthony Holland um, does a brilliant TED talk on how the bad cells you don't want in the body, if they get hit with the frequency, they go bye bye. They figured that out a long time ago. It's really not, they did that. What was that Memorex commercial, right? Where the lady sang into the wine glass and destroyed the wine glass. Same thing. You sing the pitch, the resonance of that item, and you break that item. So there's hope out there, man. We're all a family. Anybody that watches this channel, I'm so grateful, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you. And if there's anything I can do to help you on your journey or help you with anything, give us a call. Angie is putting my number down there. And you could put down my website possibly too, Angie, if you get a chance. But with that being said, if anybody has any questions finishing up, let me know. And I'm more than happy. Just send questions to me. Angie, can you throw my email in there for me too? The usamedbed at Gmail. See how smart I am? Knowing that I'm a guy and I can't multitask, I am not going to try to type and talk. I can do one or the other. I can stop the whole call and say, right? But email me, right? And because I'm here to serve you, that's why I'm here. That's what I'm doing. So if I know what it is that you need or how we can serve you, I'm going to get some really good people on this channel. I'm going to get experts. I've already got almost 300 videos on here. If you're seeing the channel and you haven't been on here before, go dig through. I mean, there's all kinds of Pastor Jimmy Reed with all kinds of great spiritual stuff. Dr. Mike Van Thielen, everything about stem cells, how stem cells work. We can get into a whole conversation about that. Activating dormant stem cells that can regenerate any part of your body, man. So, so, um, thank you so much, Benita. Thank you for joining us today. Trish, thank you, Trisha. Thank you for your kind words. And and with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. I love you guys. You're awesome. Thank you so much. Subscribe and share, and then you'll be on for the next call. And I will actually figure out how to get on lives, and I'll be on time and won't be a few minutes late. So with that being said, take care, everybody. I love you, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.